Friends, good morning to all of you. So today we will be continuing the imaging techniques in gynecology. So the next imaging technique after the X-ray and USG is the CT scan, MRI and PET. So coming to the CT scan. CT scan, the full name of it is computed tomography. CT scan, okay, computed tomography scanning. So the CT scan provides high resolution two-dimensional images, 2D images it provides. And here what we do is the cross-sectional images of the body are taken at a very close interval, that is a few millimeters thick, in the form of multiple slices. You might have seen the CT scan films of a patient, how the reports are given, how it is given is why, because it is taken in the cross sectional images. So and you will see the images in a slices manner. So CT can differentiate different densities, and these grayscale pictures can be read on a X-ray film or on a television monitor. Okay, so you can read the films of the CT scan on the X-ray film reader or on the television monitor. Pelvic organs could be differentiated with the gastrointestinal and the urinary system using a contrast media. So you need a contrast media, and this contrast media can be given to the patient either orally, intravenously, IV, or even rectally. So before doing these CT scan for pelvic organs, you can use the contrast media which can be given to the patient either orally, IV, or rectally. So CT scan is most useful in the diagnosis of lymph node metastasis, depth of the myometrial invasion in the endometrial cancer, ovarian masses and myomas. CT can also detect the enlarged lymph nodes but cannot differentiate between the benign hyperplasia or the metastatic carcinoma. So for the lymph node metastasis and for the lymph node metastasis occurs in cases of cancer. What happens is cancer can spread through the lymph nodes, so you can see the enlarged lymph nodes better in the CT scan. However, the lymph nodes must be enlarged at least by 2 cm to be detected by the CT. So you cannot differentiate the smaller lymph nodes. The lymph nodes must be enlarged minimum of 2 cm to be detected by the CT scan. And that is a specialty of the CT scan. You can detect the lymph node metastasis easily. And another thing is you can also detect the tumors present in the pituitary or the cerebellum, that is the cerebellar metastasis of choriocarcinoma or microadenoma of the pituitary can be detected by the CT procedure. So you can also differentiate the cerebellar metastasis of the choriocarcinoma. If the choriocarcinoma spreads to the cerebral area, that can also be seen in the CT scan, or even the tumors of pituitary like microadenoma or any other tumor present in the CNS or pituitary can be detected by the CT procedures. Okay, so CT brain, with the help of CT brain we can differentiate the things which are present in the skull, or with the abnormalities which are present in the brain or the skull can be seen properly. CT scan also differentiates the percutaneous needle biopsy of suspicious lymph nodes. In obese or in cases of distended stomach or gut, it is an ideal alternative to the sonar. CT scan is useful in assessing the tumor extent and detecting the metastasis. So it can show you how the tumor is extended and the metastasis of it, especially to the lymph nodes and the nearby organs, is better detected in CT scan. CT has its role in staging of the ovarian carcinoma, as it can detect the peritoneal, omentals and serosal deposits in addition to the liver and nodal metastasis. So it can also help in the staging of the ovarian carcinoma and its metastasis to the nearby areas, and even to the liver and nodal metastasis can be detected. That's why it is considered as superior to the ultrasound in the detection of the metastasis or the cancerous condition or the staging of the ovarian cancer also. Lower limit of detectable intraperitoneal implants is in between 1 and 5 mm, and the CT scans are useful in evaluating the pituitary tumors, as I have already mentioned. The CT scan, the best images from the CT are obtained when there are significant differences in the tissue densities. So you can better the images will be better if there is any difference in the tissue densities or tissue of different densities are present, then that image can be better seen or obtained in the CT scan, you can say. Helical CT scan is a current modification and has many advantages. Helical CT has replaced pulmonary angiography and ventilation perfusion scans for the diagnosis of pulmonary embolism. So with the help of a helical CT scan, you can also diagnose a pulmonary embolism. Embolism is nothing but the dislodged thrombus from the area and which is present in the lungs is the pulmonary. So whenever the thrombus is dislocated, dislodged, it is called as the embolus, means freely moving thrombus is the embolus. Okay, so when that enters into the pulmonary area or in the lungs, then that is called as pulmonary embolism, which is a very dangerous condition, or you can say the life risky condition it is. So which can also be diagnosed by using the helical CT scan. However, it is most costly. Yes, it is unlike X-ray and USG. CT scans are most costly, and there is a chance of surface radiation in here too. Surface radiation dose of CT scan of the abdomen and pelvis is in between 2 and 10 CJY. CGY is a centigrade. Centigrade is the unit of radiation. However, the value of CT in the assessment of pelvic organs is limited. MRI is preferred where available because of the radiation hazard and the cost. In most of the clinics, they prefer to go for MRI rather than CT, but it has its own advantages too. So this is all about CT scan. So next is about, you can see here the CT scan of a pelvic showing an ovarian mass. So this is taken in the slide, the pictures are taken in the slide on, and it is read on the grayscale, and you can see here they have measured it, ovarian mass is present here, you can see here. So next is about MRI. The full form of MRI is magnetic resonance imaging. The full form of MRI is magnetic resonance imaging. Yes, here magnetic resonance is used, field is used. The phenomenon of nuclear magnetic resonance was first described by the Felix Bloch and the Edward Purcell in 1946. MR as a basis for an imaging technique was employed in practice about 30 years later by Lauterbach. The MRI creates a cross-sectional images of the body using a combination of radio waves, non-ionizing radiation and magnetic fields. Biologic tissue nuclei with protons or neutrons have got the magnetic properties. So in the tissues with the nuclei, they have the magnetic properties because they contain protons or neutrons. When a pulse of radio waves is imposed on the nuclei, so when we send a pulse of radio waves on a nuclei, then a strong resonance will occur and the energy is absorbed by the nuclei, and a signal is detected in a receiver coil situated close to the tissue when the energy is emitted by the nuclei. So this is the mechanism involved in this. The strength of the emitted signal varies directly with the proton density. So this is a machine of MRI. You can see here, you can make patient to lie down on the machine and this resonance field is created, and you can start the procedure of taking the images of the body. In gynecology, the resolution used is 0.5 to 1 mm. The radio waves penetrate bone and air without any attenuation. Respiratory movements have got little effect on the pelvic organs. Sagittal and coronal views can be obtained without moving the patient. Patient with implants or pacemakers cannot undergo MRI. See, this is a limitation of a patient. If the patient is already placed with the pacemakers in his or her heart, then she cannot undergo MRI. Gadolinium is used as a IV contrast for better visualization of organs and their abnormalities. Coming to the uses of MRI, MRI can differentiate the different zones. This is important. It can differentiate the different zones of the uterus clearly. Means you in the MRI you can see clearly the 3 layers: endometrium, myometrium, and even in the inner and outer myometrium can be better visualized in the MRI. So all the 3 zones and all the layers of the uterus can be better visualized in the MRI. It can measure the depth of myometrial penetration of the endometrial cancer preoperatively. Yes, it can measure the endometrial cancer and its myometrial penetration also it can be measured properly. MRI can detect accurately the parametrial invasion of the cervical cancer but cannot identify the lymphatic metastasis reliably. It is more reliable in distinguishing the post-treatment fibrosis and the reoccurrence. MRI is superior to CT or ultrasound in diagnosis the adenomyosis. Adenomyosis, as you people are already knowing, adenomyosis is nothing but the what implantation of the implantation of the endometrium inside the myometrium. Myomas, the tumors, the endometrial cancer, including the myometrial invasion of the endometrial cancer. Endovaginal or the endorectal coils are present in the MRI, which produces high resolution images of the cervix and the parametrium. Tumor volume can be measured with 3D imaging system. Coronal or axial planes are used to determine the invasion of the bladder, rectum, parametrium and the uterine body. MRI does not require the use of radiopaque contrast agents. MRI uses gadolinium, a magnetically opaque contrast agent, and it is not a nephrotoxic. This is a good thing. With the contrast which is used in MRI is gadolinium and it is not a nephrotoxic. Otherwise in the other contrast are nephrotoxic. That means they are dangerous to the kidney, but this contrast is safest for the kidney. MRI is found to be safe in pregnancy and it is not a mutagenic. So this is a very good thing for the gynecologists and obstetricians to know that we can send patient for MRI even in the pregnancy, because MRI is considered as safe in the pregnancy and it is not a mutagenic, means it cannot causes the mutagens in the fetus too. So it is safe for the fetus in utero. Leiomyomas, that is the fibroids, are also better diagnosed with the help of MRI. MRI is a non-invasive tool in the diagnosis of endometriosis. It can also diagnose the endometriosis. See, we have already covered endometriosis cannot be diagnosed with the simple procedure, simple techniques like ultrasound, X-ray. We cannot diagnose endometriosis unless and until we can go for the laparoscopy and all. But in the MRI also you can diagnose the endometriosis. It can measure the depth of penetration, which is responsible for pelvic pain. MRI is superior to CT scan in the evaluation of metastatic lymph nodes. We have studied no in CT scan is good for diagnosing the lymph node metastasis of the lymph nodes, but the size should be minimum 2 centimeter or more than that. But here MRI is still considered superior to the CT scan in the evaluation of the metastatic lymph nodes or the current pelvic tumors. However, the neither CT nor MRI can detect the microscopic malignant diseases. But the disadvantages of both these CT and MRI is they cannot detect the microscopic malignant diseases. MRI is twice more expensive than CT is again its disadvantage. CT is we were telling CT is expensive, but MRI is twice expensive than the CT scan. Hazards. Main hazards are electroconvulsions and the atrial fibrillation. This is due to the rapidly changing magnetic field. However, caution should be exercised with epileptic patients and who had recent MI or the myocardial infarction. So in epileptic and myocardic, that is in cardiac patient and the patient who have the fits history or the epilepsy, in them you have to be more cautious. Other limitations of MRI is patient acceptance. Many patients feel trapped in the machine or psychological distress, that is a claustrophobia will be there, that is the fear of the closed environment is there. So patient may feel trapped inside the machine. This is one of the hazard of the MRI or complication you can say. So this is all about the MRI scan, and one more is there, that is the PET or the positron emission tomography. PET is based on the tissue uptake of FDG. FDG is nothing but 18F fluoro 2 deoxy glucose. FDG-PET can measure the difference between the normal tissue and the cancerous tissue. So this is the thing, if you are using a FDG here in the PET scan, which can differentiate the normal and the cancerous tissue. Cancerous tissue process this glucose analog differently compared to that of the normal tissue. So this is the difference, and this is the glucose analog is given IV. FDG PET scan is then done and the images are interpreted. First we have to give the IV FDG, then you have to go for the technique, and images are then interpreted. FDG PET scan is more sensitive for the detection of metastatic disease and reoccurrence of the ovarian or the cervical malignancy. It is also useful to assess the response of the for response following the tumor therapy, whether the after giving the treatment for tumor, you have to see whether there is any response in the malignancy or not. So the prognosis can be also done with the help of FDG PT scan, and it is also found to be more sensitive and specific compared to the CT or MRI. Sensitivity of PET is in detecting the pelvic node metastasis is 80% compared to MRI, which is 70%, and CT scan it is 48%. That means for the lymph node metastasis, the more reliable or more sensitive test is the PET scan, and next is the MRI, which is 70% accurate, and then the CT, which is 48% accurate. So here you can see the PET or positron emission tomography scans. You can see here the it is open from other end, so that patient will not feel that he or she is trapped inside the machine. So this is a PET machine. Next, coming to the conclusion of the imaging techniques in gynecology, all the imaging system have got their role in the gynecological practice. Like X-ray, either plain or using the contrast media, has got its own place. It is cheaper and quite informative with minimum risk of radiation. So that is the advantages of X-ray. It is cheaper and quite informative with its minimum risk of radiation. Radiation risk is lesser in X-ray compared to other imaging techniques, and it is cheaper. So that these 2 points have, because of these two reasons, it has its own place in the gynecology. And ultrasound, it establishes a definite place in the diagnostic evaluation. Ultrasound guided procedures are used for both the diagnostic and the therapeutic purposes. So it we can use the ultrasound for even for the diagnosis as well as for the therapeutic purposes. We can simultaneously do the ultrasound guided procedures also. CT is useful in the diagnosing of the lymph node metastasis and the depth of the myometrial invasion in the endometrial cancer. It may be employed in the selected cases to detect the microadenoma of the pituitary or the metastatic lesions in the brain or the liver. MRI is superior to CT or ultrasound. It is especially helpful to differentiate post-treatment fibrosis or tumor. It is safe in the pregnancy. PET is helpful to differentiate normal tissues from the cancerous one. So this is all about the imaging technologies in gynecology. Thank you.